Hello. This is Maria Grossbaum from Abissima with a new tutorial for you. It's been a while, so this time I really put all my energy and all my imagination into this new class. So let's take a look. Ta-da! Do you see this? It looks complex, super easy to create. So the aim of this exercise, this tutorial, is to build textural composition and to add an effect of rust. So take a closer look. Right, you see some kind of a patina and a rust, and of course the three-dimensional effect. Okay, easy to do, no previous experience needed. Let's take a look at the materials. I only used 4 different colors. Here they are. Okay, so one by one. This one is called Quinacridone by Golden. Could be any. You could substitute it with any brownish sepia tone. This one is a very kind of a dark blue. Could be substituted with anything else. This one is Patala Blue 566 by Amsterdam. Here's another Amsterdam Turquoise Green, number 661. And we have number 800 silver acrylic color. This is it. We will need different sizes of brushes, a border, a modeling paste. Where's my modeling paste? Here it is. So I used my beloved golden light modeling paste, but you could use any type of paste. Yes, any type of paste. One more very important thing. Oh my god, I put it so far away. Give me a second. A jute ribbon. Okay, so if you don't have it, no worries. You could use any cheesecloth or any other beautiful fabric. Oops, any fabric with like a lace, you know, like it's good if it has some holes in it. Okay, toilet paper, palette where you mix colors, and I guess this is it. Okay, so I really hope you like it, and I really hope that you will enjoy the process. So c'est parti, let's do it. Again, no previous experience needed. All right, I'll see you in the class. Alright, so let's keep it simple. Therefore, I suggest to use small canvas. My size is 8 by 8 inches. Once you figure everything out on a smaller scale, then you could use on a bigger canvas. And I have to tell you, if you use this technique on bigger canvas, oh, imagine like 2 by 3 square feet. Just kidding, it's a huge size. But really, like meter by 2, that would be super fantastic, very powerful. So I just showed you that I'm using light modeling paste. Again, you could use any paste you want. I mean modeling paste. It could be any brand. My favorite brands are Golden and Liquitex, but you might live in an area where these particular products are not available, so no worries. Any modeling paste is fine. Plus you will need some toilet paper and palette knives. Now if you don't have palette knives, no worries, you can use any, what do you call it, serrated knife, a knife with the teeth. Okay, the consistency of modeling paste I'm using is like a cream. I want to make it heavier, therefore I'm adding some stripes of toilet paper, and then I'm going to mix it. Now it is difficult really to say how much paper you need to add. My aim is just to make the consistency tiny bit thicker. So I'm mixing toilet paper with modeling paste. It doesn't have to be very smooth. I actually prefer to have some lumps because they add an additional textural effect. Okay, so once you mixed it, then spread everything as even as possible. Okay, so now when you have your modeling paste covering the whole surface of your canvas, let's work on textural composition, and it's becoming very creative right now. So I want to create an internal frame, and the width of the frame will be about 1 inch from each side. So I'm taking out the excess of modeling paste and then reapplying it to the central part. Creating composition, playing with texture is a lot of fun. You can create your own design or you could follow my steps. So I just marked a line that divides my working area into 2 equal parts. And now let's create vertical columns. It is easy to create with tip of a thick brush, but very important to place it in water first because the paste is sticky. Each time when you have paste on your brush, just wipe it off with toilet paper or a piece of fabric, place it again in water and continue creating your columns. Quite easy. It is a very good moment right now to remind you that perfectionism kills your creativity. I'm saying this because you might have this temptation to create parallel columns and to keep same distance between them. It's not that important. It doesn't have to look perfect. But let me also remind you that no matter what texture you will create, it still will look impressive. Okay, so keep it simple, remember to enjoy, and even if something is not exactly symmetrical or parallel, really it's not the end of the world. Okay, so now using same tip of the same brush, we are going to create this circle. It's really easy. I'm sorry that I'm actually blocking the view with my hand, but technically what you're doing is you start in the middle and then you expand the whole. Okay, again, don't be perfect. All right, as you can see, some of my circles are bigger, some are smaller, and the distance is different, but I'm really happy with this. Okay, so now it's time to work with fabric and to incorporate it in the upper part of the composition. So I'm showing you another example of fabric that you can use. It's actually wrapping fabric for flowers. But again, if you have some interesting lace or if you have a piece of cheesecloth, everything works. So I want to cut a stripe that is a good width and it will cover the empty area of my composition. Now let's take a look. Yes, it's a little bit too thick, so I'm going to cut more, and I'm not going to use it as is. I'm also going to tear it apart a little bit and to take some threads out so that it looks kind of old. Yes, this is much better, but I think it's still thick. So let's take more threads out and maybe to cut off some tips. All right, so I think this is good now. So the way to incorporate it is just to press slightly and then also to push it in with palette knife, and also to apply more paste on the top. Let's see how I'm going to do that. With palette knife, I'm pressing and covering some areas of the fabric with modeling paste, and I'm leaving some threads out because this is how I want it to look. Well, And here is my last touch. For the decoration, I'm adding with the thread horizontal lines, and that's about it. All right, my dearest ones, so what do you think about my composition? Yes, it's childish, yes, it's simple, but please trust me that when I will apply a rusty effect and colors, it will look quite interesting. Well, I really hope it will. Okay, so now I want to give you another tip, the tip that will finalize your work. So if you have some bumpy areas or areas that need to be fixed, use wet brush and then smooth out these areas. But also it is important work on it right now because the paste might start drying. Usually it takes, of course, it depending on the brand of your paste, but usually it takes from 6 to 8 hours depending on how deep your texture is to completely dry. And but even now it already might lose its flexibility. Well, I left it overnight and voila, here you go, I have a nice texture. So to be honest, it's not 100% dry, it's still a little spongy, but I can already start working on it. And now let's dive into colors. So I'm showing you here again colors that I'm going to use. I will start with these two, the turquoise and the, oh, I forgot already how to pronounce this long name of this brown tone, but it's not that really important really, because you can use any type of turquoise or light blue, and you could use any type of brown. It's even better if your brown is tending to kind of to be like orangey, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so find these two colors in your studio or go to art store and let's start painting. Just in case, if you want my exact colors, please look under this video at list of supplies. All right, okay, happy painting, let's start. So here is my idea briefly, and I'm speeding up this video so that you are not getting bored. Okay, so about 80% of the surface is going to be covered with a turquoise, and around the circles I'm going to use mostly brown because this is where my rust effect is going to be, mostly there. Okay, use a lot of water to help paints to spread evenly and to mix nicely in order to create smooth transitions. All right, so it starts looking quite interesting. I really like the blend between brown and turquoise, and actually I chose turquoise colors because it's usually a color of patina on copper rusty surfaces. Okay, so everything is dry now and I like what I see and I'm ready to continue. Now I want to work on the upper part where I have the jute ribbon, and to emphasize the threads area by adding darker colors. Well, now it's a good moment to introduce another color that I'm going to use. It's dark blue by Amsterdam, number 566. Again, you don't have to work with this particular color. It could be any dark color, not even blue, because it's all about experimenting. Who knows, maybe dark red's gonna look good, or maybe even dark burgundy. Okay, so another good thing about it, the creative freedom gives you an opportunity to use what you already have on hand, and you don't need to purchase other colors. But if you really like mine, please go ahead and take a look again at the list of supplies underneath this video and order these particular materials that I'm using. There's another thing that I forgot to mention. When you want to wet your area quickly, you could use fig brush or add water, or you could use a spray bottle, just as I do. Well, I'm moving a lamp so that you could see all these colorful transitions, because I know that when the area is wet, it reflects the light and sometimes it's difficult to see an actual process, let's put it this way. And now I would like to add a rust at the bottom part of my painting, and it is important to ensure that the surface is very wet, because water helps the colors to spread and bleed, and when it's dry it looks very organic. Okay, so let the water do the job for you. You just add colors. And in case you added too much, okay, just absorb it with a kitchen roll with paper towel or toilet paper. Okay, so I really like what I'm doing and how it started to look, and right now I want to add more darker tones to the internal frame in order to create contrast between this frame and the central part of the painting. So what do you think? Well, it's hard to say. Let it dry and then we will have a better idea of what was created. Okay, my dear artists, so everything is dry, and now I'm introducing you a last color that I'm going to use for highlights and for some shiny accents with metallic effect. Yes, I'm going to use metal silver acrylic. You could use any metal silver acrylic. If you don't have an acrylic, it could be any water-based silver color. And as you can see, I'm lightly touching the surfaces. Not everything, but just certain areas. Okay, so I chose this color because it looks really nice with rust. Another thing is, if you noticed, I'm using this color almost without water because I want it to be very bold, you know, very visible. Another tool for you, my dear friends, well, actually it's a tip, it's not a tool, it's a tip about the tool, and the tool is my finger. I like using it instead of brush sometimes when I want to achieve smooth transition between tones. So I strongly encourage you to give it a try. So if you also decide adding accents with the silver color, I suggest not to add it everywhere, just add in specific areas, okay? This way your painting will look more organic. Well, my dear artists, so the painting part is almost over. The last touch is to add these sporadic rusty blobs on the surface. but it is very important to make sure that the surface is wet. So you could use a thick brush and add water to it, or you could use a spray bottle, and after that dilute your brown color with a lot of water, get it on your brush, and then help with your finger to create these blobs. It will add this very organic, rusty look to your painting. Okay. Well, now when I look at it, I think I need another touch. Well, it always happens this way, you know, I say that here is my last touch and I'm done, but it's never a last touch, there is more. So there is more. I've decided to add more rusty look to the upper part of the frame. I think it will create an interesting contrast. There is a huge temptation to continue, but I know I'm familiar with this problem, so I'm putting this work aside to dry. Well, now let's take a closer look when the artwork is dry. I think rust looks quite organic and natural. I'm also happy with my silver accents. So I think it's quite a successful artwork. Now remember, we worked on a small scale. Just imagine what it's going to look like on a a big scale. Let's say, I don't know, let's say like 34 by 48 inches. I think it'll be very, very powerful. Or it could be really long and narrow, for example, let's say 36 by 12 inches. I actually really like this format. Okay, so in order to make my artwork to look complete and also to avoid adding a frame to it, I am covering the sides with the same turquoise color. If you like, you could try different color for the sides, but I think turquoise will work really, really sweet. So yes, I really enjoyed this process. I really hope that you enjoyed it too. Now, underneath this video, there's a link to my Facebook group where a lot of artists are going to share their results. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Share your results. Look at my hands, hands of an artist. Woohoo! Love this work, really, really, really love this work. Of course, when it's small, it's not that impressive, but I really want to recreate it on a bigger scale. I hope you will do the same as well. I use rust effect a lot in my mixed media pieces. You can see it all over the internet. Just type Abissima and you will see it, I promise you. So I encourage you to take this class, to share your results in my Facebook group, to see what other artists created, and check my online school for free and paid classes. Let's stay connected, let's stay creative, let's share and multiply beauty.